they are. Dan, left. Cynthia, right. If you're facing your screen. And you have a little bit of a shuffle. I think the way that projects, you each have the 49ers and Chiefs advancing to Super Bowl 54.
Maybe.
And again, a little bit of a shuffle there. Titans for you, Dan, and Packers for you in the number 3 slot, Cynthia. So let's now look forward on Power Rankings. What team are you most worried about on Championship Sunday? Who's starting this?
Dan will start it.
Dan will start it? All right, Dan. It's on you. Which team are you most worried about?
I'd have to be the most worried about the Packers. I mean, if I'm making the statement that I love
Home team.
Oh, home team.
Home team. Is it the Niners or is it the Chiefs?
Okay, fine. You want me to go
stars.
first?
Yeah.
Would you like me to
Yeah,
go
I'm doing a
first?
poor job of directing this debate.
No,
Cynthia,
I'm most
you
worried
go
about.
first.
Look, I'm a little bit worried about the Niners in this situation because we have this bias when it comes to. All right, we saw Aaron Rodgers go to 2 California teams, and the Packers just didn't look good in either of those 2 matchups, right? So you're looking and you're like, oh well, they've already done it once. They have the formula. They can do it again. But you have to remember, this is Aaron Rodgers. This is now the playoffs. You know, there is. I don't think it's going to be this like huge victory for the Niners. This is going to be a much more of a chess game, not necessarily between LaFleur and Shanahan, but more between Aaron Rodgers and his ability to exact his will and Devontae Adams. So you have Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams. We got to see what we got here. I don't think this is going to be some runaway victory for the Niners.
Who wants to play the Titans right now?
Right.
I mean,
The Chiefs.
You just said it. Dynasty Slayer and destroyed the best offense from the regular season.
And Cynthia, what you said about the Chiefs, that all totally checks out, and it's incredible what they were able to do. 51 points in 32 minutes of game time. But the Titans, they are this team that, geez, would you be totally stunned if this team won the Super Bowl at this point? The way they're cooking in all phases and what Derrick Henry has done. I mean, it makes me think of what he's doing during this playoff run, and you could throw in Week 17 as well, because that was essentially a playoff game as well. That this reminds me of 2008 and Larry Fitzgerald, and what he did for the wide receiver position, the best stretch of playoff games I've ever seen. Henry's one more monster game away from kind of redefining the all-time running back playoff run. It's Hall of Fame
Davis
type
right
stuff.
now, yeah. 150 plus yards. He's at 188. Remember, hey, the Titans already beat them. You know, the 49ers destroyed the Packers in the regular season. The Titans were outgained. They were, I think, 15. Think about that. The Titans had 15 minutes less time of possession than the Chiefs, and they still won that game. I don't remember what week it was, 10, 11, whatever it might have been. But it was week 10. Pat Mahomes is playing. He's throwing for 400 and some yards. Derrick Henry just rushed right over him. Ryan Tannehill had a couple touchdown passes, and they won that game against a Chiefs team that was starting to kind of find their rhythm. And it was a heavyweight fight, and they came out ahead. So to me, I would, you know, even though it's hard, I think, to envision the Chiefs not getting to the Super Bowl after last year and coming up short and kind of having that experience, and then their rally from 24 points down, if I were to lean on one versus the other, you know, I'd probably say I'm a little more concerned about the Chiefs, just because, as we've all said, Titans are telling you what they're going to do, and people aren't able to stop it.
Well, Chris Jones being back will be a huge factor in this one because remember,
And we'll see how healthy he is.
Well, we don't know exactly how healthy he's going to be, but the difference is for me in this one, they're going to get you got Patrick Mahomes. He was playing, but remember he'd been out for a bunch of games, so they hadn't really been gelling. Tyreek Hill had been sort of hurt. There was a lot of banged up people in that one. Their O-line was a little bit banged up, so that's the difference maker for me in that one. Just increased health for the Chiefs. That's a big deal.
And don't put too many people are like, oh, Ryan Tannehill under 100 yards the last 2 games. That's weird, but he made 2 big throws in the first half this past weekend.
14-0.
And
I'm not saying
this
it's
is
going to
Derrick Henry's show.
Look, I'm not saying it's a slam dunk. I'm just saying it's,
I think we're going to get 2 great, conference championship
Hope so.
games.
Hope so.
You know, that's what exactly. All right, welcome back to Power Rankings. We're doing Championship Sunday rankings units. We'll do offense, defense, coaches. I'll get us started with the offenses, and Cynthia, you detailed it perfectly in the last conversation. So, how do you not put the Chiefs atop after breaking all those records? 7 straight drives.
Got to do it.
Scoring drives. Pat Mahomes looks like Pat Mahomes' majestical MVP campaign of 2018, and just hard to pick against a team with all of those weapons. Travis Kelce, 3 touchdowns in a quarter.
Just that.
Obviously, Tyreek Hill, the always imminent threat on any play to take it all the way to the house. And, of course, Williams then just kind of playing the role of caulk or grout and filling in the cracks just when you think Pat's going to keep passing. Now, here's a
That's
couple.
me.
Grout.
Here's a couple
I'm grout.
for you,
I'm the grout.
Damien, as well. And,
I'm the grout of the
What?
show.
Why do you hate Jimmy Garoppolo? What is up with you
So,
and
well,
Jimmy
first
G?
of all,
Is it
let
'cause
me
he's
get there.
good-looking?
Let me get there. We'll work our way through. We're
I
going to go
know.
top to bottom,
Okay,
all right? So then
okay.
Titans, as I detailed, I love an offense that says, this is what we're going to do. You know we're going to do it, and there ain't anything you can do about it. So good luck. And when
He's
you're
the
going
size
up
of a
against,
defensive end.
I mean, look, it's
Try stopping it.
Try stopping it, and we're going to do it for 6-7
Terrifying.
yards a carry, and there's nothing you can
Yeah.
do. And on top of that, the Chiefs' defense has been quite leaky against the run. When you've got this offense going up against a defense that's given up 5 yards per carry, feel pretty darn good about the way that matches up. Packers ahead of the 49ers, exactly.
Can I just make one point off that?
Hank
Kansas
can.
City, don't fall behind 24-0 in this game because it
Exactly,
will not
'cause
be
you
the
ain't
same
coming
outcome.
back.
There aren't
in
going to
this
be that
one.
many possessions. There's not enough
No.
possessions left. That's usually what happens.
I put the this was tough, the Packers and the 49ers, because obviously the Packers had the early touchdown in the second half and then did not score again. And the Seahawks defense is not great by any means, and they were able to kind of shut them down. But I looked at the 49ers, and I was a little bit concerned about Jimmy's interception and Shanahan's sort of reaction to that. And that, to me, just signaled he's just not quite entirely comfortable with Garoppolo throwing the ball. Because you're looking at scoring drives that are 10 straight runs, maybe 8 or 9. I mean, it was 60, over 60, 30.
Well,
I think it was a
isn't that logic the same
64-36
you used
split.
against the Titans,
Yes,
though?
I was
like,
about to
isn't
say
it the
Well,
same
no,
logic?
because that's
Same
their
thing.
identity. I don't think the 49ers' identity is, it's been
Outside
a
zone
lot of
rushing.
George Kittle, it's been a lot of Debo
think they're
Samuel, it's been
flexible,
Emmanuel
though.
Sanders.
Outside zone
They
rushing,
are.
that's
You
what I
could
think
say
of
they're
when I think of
pliable.
Shanahan.
And
I
yeah.
just trust Aaron Rodgers a little bit more after watching what he was able to do. And Devontae Adams and that route running. And by the way, all Aaron Jones did was break a Packers record for most touchdowns by a running back in franchise history in a single season. So they're supremely balanced as well.
mean, all these
it's
teams are
close.
great.
I could flip-flop them.
Yeah.
I do think the Packers have a little bit of an edge, though, with how Aaron Jones has been running and the fact that Devontae Adams is now fully healthy and looks like doesn't look like he's the best receiver in the game. They have the best quarterback in the game. They have the best running back in the game. So I'm going to take the Packers.
Okay. I mean, I liked how Aaron Rodgers was able to close that game out
Right.
with 2 big completions late in the fourth quarter. But I think Shanahan, who's obviously good at this on
He's the best
offense,
play caller.
he saw what
in the
he
matchup.
needed to do to beat
Right.
the Vikings, which was run the ball. They ran for about 180 yards and let your defense dominate and keep the ball. So it wasn't really a game where they had to call on Jimmy G. We've seen Garoppolo against the Saints, for instance, in the regular seasons. When they've needed him to really get into a shootout, he can do that too. And I could see that happening again at some point in the playoffs still. I believe in that Niners offense, although I will say this about Garoppolo, and I imagine Kyle Shanahan feels the same way, that Jimmy is always good for one of those
That's what I
kind
mean.
of really bad picks.
And he did it for the entire first half of the season. Through
Right.
7 games, the guy had 7 touchdowns and 6 picks.
Right.
I can't just throw that out. Not going to throw that out, going into
Got to consider
to
the
this week.
entire sample size.
The whole body of work.
Body of
Cynthia, you were doing the defenses.
I am, because defenses are a big deal, obviously.
Turns out.
So turns out, to me, it's kind of like one, and then there's like a
Right.
big jump, and then the rest of them, right? So the 49ers, heads and shoulders above all of the rest of them. I don't think there's any, like, are you even going to try
No,
to?
not gonna argue
Especially
that.
now with like Quan Alexander back. Like, the more healthy they get, the scarier they get, the more yikes. Like, you just have to look
That
out.
bye week was good for them.
That bye week was good for them. I'm going to be interested to see, like, Bulago's back from his injury, or not injury, he was ill. So his sickness, look, the Packers O-line, they're really going to have a tough task ahead of them in this one, because the difference between Aaron Rodgers under pressure and not in this season specifically has been monstrous. He just hasn't been under pressure a lot. So that's an interesting one. I went with Chiefs at number 2 because they're getting Chris Jones presumably back, and they've been playing really well. They've been scheming really well. They've been really helping themselves out. Part of the reason you were able to mount that huge comeback was because those quick 3 and outs, like boom, they gave them another offensive possession. Titans defensive front, Dean Pease, that's my dude. Obviously.
DP.
And the Packers, I had a hard time between Packers, Titans. Like, you could, depending on the game, it could be either just because the pressure the two Smiths are bringing, like, that has just been awesome and really fun to watch. And the Packers defense has really kind of gotten them this far in the playoffs. So none of these, like I said, Niners, and then kind of the rest
I
of
think
them.
you hit it. To me, there's Chiefs, Titans, Packers, right? You mentioned the Smiths, of the Packers. when you look at the Chiefs, top to bottom, if you go to every level, Hitchens is just a tackling machine at linebacker. Frank Clark has been, since he got healthy and we found out, like, hey, this injury was worse, and also, my understanding is there were some personal issues there as well that he was dealing with. Once he got through those, he's been one of the best defensive ends in football.
Dominant.
So completely dominant with one of the most dominant pass rushing interior tackles in all of football. And then what Tyrann Mathieu done at the back end. And not to mention, think about the play that Daniel Sorensen made on the fake punt. Like, they have playmakers on that defense.
Kendall Fuller's been playing really well too. Like sneaky good
but
for
see, then I go to the
Alex
Titans,
Smith.
and it's like the interior of that line with Jeffrey Simmons now, and then obviously with Byard
Simmons and Casey
and
together.
Logan Ryan,
Woo,
like
woo, woo.
that's and now I'm just playing name soup. Like I think
You love that on radio.
You just
Money,
describe it.
when Money teaches you how to do
Ugh.
good radio, he just says, if you don't know something, just like start naming
just
names.
name soup. It's
Yep,
like whatever.
name soup.
You mentioned the Smiths, just to give the Packers a little love.
Sure.
I think the biggest play of divisional weekend on the defensive side of the ball was Preston Smith getting to Russell Wilson on that 3rd and 5
Sure.
with 3 minutes to play, because it really did feel like, and Russell Wilson has led the Seahawks to 3 straight touchdown drives, that was
Totally
going to
fair.
end in absolute heartbreak for Green
Totally.
Bay. Not only did it lead to 4th down, it took them out of range where Pete Carroll was comfortable going for it, and then they punted away and never get it back. What a huge play.
My only counter to that would be, number one, their O-line is like not great for the Seahawks. And then number two, they did allow that comeback to happen. So
That's
all
fair.
of the plays leading up to it, that's kind of what
Works
I
for
like.
me.
The
I
body
think you
of
nailed
work.
the list. I just want to put
Yeah,
that
thanks.
on record.
You know,
Yes.
I think
thanks.
it's right.
Listen,
Yeah, but you know
thanks.
what? It was a
Thanks.
really easy list. Head coaches. You do the head coaches here, Dan.
All right, the head coach power rankings. Andy Reid, big red number
Yes,
1.
100%.
Get out of here with all that negative talk. It's his time to be on a riser at media night, Super Bowl week, and I
Let's do
think
it.
it happens. Number 2, Kyle Shanahan. He finally put it together this year in his 3rd season in San Francisco. And like I was just saying in our conversation, I think that offense is versatile, where they can beat you different ways. And obviously, Robert Saleh, he did a good job with his coaching staff as well. Mike Vrabel, number 3. I didn't have a real opinion on Vrabel until the last few weeks, and now I'm understanding that old adage, that old cliche. Sometimes the team takes on the personality of its head coach. And I'm like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm in. That's why he gets the bronze medal. And Matt LaFleur, the Flower, he comes in at 4th. Still a little bit undefinable for me. I don't know what to make of LaFleur yet.
So, I mean, this is a tough one to me, because you think about what LaFleur has had to do, right? Convince Aaron Rodgers to give the ball to Aaron Jones a lot and dial it back a little bit. And, hey, we got pretty good defense. I mean, that is not an easy task.
No,
and he
it's
was
not.
able to do that into Championship Sunday. To me, I look at Vrabel, and, I mean, the guy outwitted Bill Belichick.
He did it.
In a 1-point game, he takes a delay a game and then a false start, and
Yes.
Bill's freaking out on the sideline because he's so upset that he got
That's my move.
outwitted.
The student becomes the teacher.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was. I mean, like, I don't know how. Am I comfortable putting him behind Shanahan? Obviously, I think we'd all agree that
Reed's
that
number
Reed's
1,
there.
head and shoulders.
stock up in the divisional round. Dan, you go.
Derrick Henry. I mean,
Yeah.
we've hit this hard on this show, but that's the way it is. This guy is putting together, like I said, a Hall of Fame historic type run, and you hope this isn't a situation. I don't want to be a cynic here and look at it as a DeMarco Murray with the Cowboys a few years back, where they're just running this guy into the ground because they don't intend to pay him. But somebody will pay Derrick Henry, because he has proven he is a Mariano Rivera closer.
I mean, that alone
And
should
the
get
jump
you paid.
pass.
That alone should get
He's a good
you
dancer.
paid.
Hey, he's a football player.
That, by the way,
he's a football player.
That's just a ridiculously athletic move
5'2"
for a
athlete.
6'3" bruiser to stop on a dime, jump, and then throw a touch pass.
Beautiful touch pass.
Over the coverage
Spiral.
into the soft hands of Corey Davis. It was something.
To
Stock
that
up.
end,
Mm-hmm.
I have Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator for the Titans. You talked about it, Money. The identity of this team. They said, we're going to run the ball. We're not going to rely on, we're going to have strategic passes. We're going to do all this. Arthur Smith is the architect of this. Vrabel's not sitting there calling plays. It's Arthur Smith. You
He's
know the
beating
name.
up other coaches.
I mean, look, and his name is Arthur. My dad's name is Arthur, so we have to
Artie.
bring it up here.
There we go, Art.
And by the way, you know who's going to get paid this year? Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Like, that's really, I mean, he didn't even have to throw for too many passes. Make them count when you need them. And ultimately, Ryan Tannehill has found himself another starting position, right? He's going to be a starter next season. Last year, we did not say that. Obviously, we were a little confused about that. He's healthy. It looks really good.
Can I just,
And by the
devil's
way-
advocate?
Yeah.
is everyone in this room completely comfortable with paying Ryan Tannehill like a star quarterback?
I don't think
not
they'll have
about-
to.
It's not about comfort. It's about the market. This could be a season where we see a ton of people move around. There's so many question marks up in the air, and it's the most valuable position. So ultimately, it will really be how much money do people want to sink into a free agent, and
Sure.
what is the rate? It's going to be market. It's not necessarily.
I mean, he's 31. He's not 25. He's, I don't think you're going to have to
Nick
surpass
Foles
the
got
average.
like 18 million.
That's
right?
what I mean. I mean,
But I would think he would command north of that.
But
at
that's
this
what I'm.
stage?
He will.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not going to get Jared Goff $36 million
No.
though. Or Russell.
Would you
Wilson,
pay him $30 million?
35.
They're gonna have to pay him
here's the
like
thing,
in the
like-
mid 20s,
Yeah.
mid 20s, 24, 25.
How much better was that
Kirk
team
Cousins
with him?
money?
From
Significantly better.
Marcus Mariota. I mean, he was just considerably.
What if Derrick
better.
Henry walks in free agency? You still feeling as good about Ryan
who
Tannehill?
walks?
Derrick Henry?
He's not walking.
No.
He's staying. I mean,
That's
look, that's
always-
the team that paid Chris Johnson.
They've always been like Derrick Henry. The knock on him since college, Alabama. Too many carries, too much use. He's too much tread on the tire. Doesn't seem like that's
he's
really
fine.
the case, right?
Yes,
He's fine.
that's-
They'll pay him.
I'm going to go Eric Bieniemy. And just think about the fact that Doug Peterson, got the head coaching gig and won a Super Bowl. Matt Nagy gets the head coaching gig and wins the NFC North for the Bears for the first time in like a decade. And it certainly seems like teams missed out on getting Eric Bieniemy. You go to Kansas City, you talk to the players, they absolutely adore the guy. You talk to Andy Reid, he said he's as important to the offense as anybody on his staff. And I think after you go down 24-0 and you put up 7 straight touchdowns, certainly you're going to
Only
get
that
the accolades
many?
you deserve. Yeah,
I
only
mean,
that.
I don't want to.
You know what he did wrong? Not enough fireworks. That's Eric
Exactly, right,
Bieniemy's
enough
I don't want to
fault.
pile
That's
on
his
the
fault.
Browns because who knows? Kevin Stefanski could be great. But it is kind of funny that in the same weekend where the Vikings had about 150 total yards in their playoff game, and then another offensive coordinator goes absolutely insane. His team has the 7 straight touchdowns, and the Browns hire the other guy.
The other guy. Exactly.
mean,
it's just, it is
weird.
odd. It is most definitely odd. But
He
I
went
would
to Penn,
assume,
though.
and at least you hope for Eric because he's been doing this so long that he gets his shot next year, and I'd be wildly
Maybe he goes
surprised if
someplace
he
good.
didn't.
You know what though? Let's not have him go
let's
to the
not have
Browns.
him go to
Let's
the
give him a good team,
Exactly.
right? Have him go with somewhere with a good team.